Yo, what up guys? Protocol here, and today I'm going to be doing a video that is a little bit different than normal for me. And that is, I'm going to be talking about how to respect the balance meter within Tony Hawk Underground Pro. Now, I know this isn't a more usual, like, tech-based tutorial or anything like that, but I kind of ran out of those a long time ago, and this is a video I've actually wanted to do for quite a while, and I'm only just now getting around to doing it. So, yeah, this is also a video that's going to be applicable to the wider Tony Hawk Underground Pro community, as well as, you know, people who are new as well. So if you're an experienced improviser within this game, then, you know, you might actually be able to take something away from this video. So let's go ahead and let's get right into it here. So the first couple things that I'm going to be covering within this tutorial are actually going to be things that probably only the newest players are going to really need to know. Like if you're an advanced player, then, you know, I'm basically telling you how to do a kickflip with these things. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's get right into it here. So what do I mean when I say respecting the balance meter within the Tony Hawk games? Well, that is, if you're new to improving or if you're new to doing combos, then the balance meter may be a significant reason why your combos are not able to go that long, because, you know, you'll wind up holding the balance meter and you'll try and swing it all over the place and you'll bail like immediately because you're trying to correct and you're overcorrecting and you just can't keep the balance meter going. So the first piece of advice that I have for you guys is to never hold a direction when you are trying to balance your balance meter. And what I mean by that is, yeah, if your balance meter goes left or right, like let's just say it's drifting right or drifting left or whatever. Let me try and get to a long grind here. Like it's drifting right. You only really want to tap the direction on your, you know, whether it be your keyboard or your controller or whatever. You only ever want to tap because the more corrections that you make with the balance meter, the harder it's going to shift back in the other direction later on. And that's going to cause, like, later in your combos to be really difficult to balance. So you can see here, like, I'm just tapping the directions, but if I hold, okay, let me actually go back to that same rail and try just holding, like holding, not immediately, like I'm not able to, you know, sort of contain the balance meter in that regard. So yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is to not do extremely long grinds and to not grind the same exact rail over and over and over again, especially with kissing the rail. So if you just do this, like, you just do, see, like, look, my balance meter's already on the far left side, and it, like, without even grinding for a full, like, 1 second in total, like, see, center, far left, the next grind I would have bailed, you know, alright, let's try it right here, actually. Boom, just like that. So you got to be a little bit careful. Just like that. Yeah, after only kissing the rail like 4 times, I immediately bail that out. Now, you can like shuffle and whatnot. You can do like things like this, and that's fine. And you'll retain your balance because each time you grind, you will have grinded a different node or a different rail between each one. So, you know, kissing the rail a whole bunch, shuffling like that is not really a problem. Just don't grind the same rail over and over and over again. And you know, you should be fine. So anyways, beyond that, I guess, well, the last really simple technique that I want to go over is, while you're actually comboing within this game, you also want to keep the total amount of time you're grinding or manualing down to a minimum. And what I mean by that is, well, I mean, I'm not trying to tell you how to improvise, you know, play your own way, but the less time you spend grinding or manualing and the more time you spend in the air, then obviously the less time you will have spent messing with your balance meter, and therefore, later into your combo, it's going to be going much more smoothly. So, you know, I could, like, if I were to, you know, do long grinds for every single part of my combo, the more corrections I ultimately wind up doing, the harder the balance meter in general is going to get to balance. So if I just, you know, improvise like this, where I'm just doing these super long grinds, you know, like maybe even going up onto the bridge or something. See, my manual balance is already sort of out of control here. But, like, you know, if I just, like, grind this forever, eventually, like, you know, right now is fine because I'm only 30 into the combo, but already, like, my balance meter is starting to get a bit out of control. And as I approach X40, X50, X60, you can see there, my balance meter should not be swinging that wildly out of control, only 40 into the combo. I personally have no problem holding combos well into 200 multiplier if, you know, I haven't royally messed up the combo somewhere early on, and you should be able to do the same as well. Now, if you're finding that you've got all of that down, and you still can't hold a combo over, say, X100 or something like that without your balance being the absolute reason why you're bailing, then you may want to consider some of these more advanced reasons as to why, or advanced things to keep in mind, rather, in terms of respecting the balance meter. Now, the first thing, and this one's kind of big, and I think a lot of people really underestimate this, is you need to lower your input latency whenever possible. In modern times, we all play on LCD or LED panels, and if it's not like a gaming rated panel and it's not a high refresh rate panel, then there's a chance that the input lag on it is going to be very, very high. Now, how can you measure the input lag? Well, on screen, I'm going to overlay a test that I did with my phone. It is a 240 FPS capture, and I'm just pointing it at my screen, and I am pressing the start button and waiting for the menu to pop up. Now, I haven't run the test yet, so I don't know exactly how many frames of lag I'm going to have, but I'll overlay it on screen. Now, this is being done with a super low latency Bluetooth adapter. I actually play with my PS4 controller on wireless because I use the official PS2 Bluetooth adapter, which isn't sold anymore. I'd recommend you play it with wired. And I'm using a 165 hertz. I think it's like an Asus E279QR monitor, I think. It's 165 hertz. And that actually matters with Thug Pro. Even though Thug Pro is a 60 FPS game, having a higher refresh rate actually does make a difference, even if you don't see more frames. Now, how does that work? Well, the way that actually works is, let's just say, for example, you're playing Thug Pro, right? And your graphics card renders a frame 1 nanosecond, or like a millionth of a nanosecond, after your monitor just displayed the previous frame. Well, would you rather see that frame in a 60th of a second, 60 hertz like most monitors, or would you rather see it in 165th of a second? It's going to be a lot less time, and therefore, you're going to notice a fair, bit less amount of lag. So, yeah. If you guys want to run the test for yourselves in terms of how I actually showed off my input lag, again, if you have a phone that can do a 240 FPS capture or a camera or whatever, then just run the same test I did. If your phone only has like 120 FPS capture, then obviously just cut the amount of frames that, I had in half, and that'll get you roughly the same answer. The main reason why I bring this one up is because I was actually testing this with a friend of mine, because he said he was on a MacBook Pro playing Thug Pro, and he was sort of hitting a wall with balance, and he was not able to keep his combos going for more into like X60 or whatever. So we ran the test, and if I recall correctly, my total frame lag is somewhere between 6 and 8 or something like that. His was like 28 or something like that. He experiences, or at least he used to experience, like 0.106 seconds of lag. Now that's a lot. A tenth of a second in this game that has one of the fastest or one of the highest inputs per second of any game anywhere. Yeah, a tenth of a, like, would you want to have a tenth of a second lag playing something like Super Smash Brothers or any fighting game or any game that requires a high amount of inputs per second? No, I didn't think so. That's sort of the point that I'm making there. So if you do have a really bad monitor and you're wanting to do longer combos within Thug Pro, I would recommend upgrading your monitor. I know it seems kind of meme to, upgrade your monitor for a game like Thug Pro, but if you're wondering why you have those problems, if you do, there you go. Maybe that's a bit of an answer for you. Now, the last thing I want to cover, which is a lot more mundane, is I would recommend, if you're playing Thug Pro, this one's a little bit of a weird one, but make sure that your balance meter, especially the arrow itself, is a very high contrast color. And, especially like a thick one, or just one that you can see very, very easily. The reason why I say that is because if you're using a balance meter, let's just say I'll go into my, I think it's in display options, theme, and we're going to go with Thug Pro here. Now, this one's not a terribly bad example, but this balance meter is a fair bit thinner. The actual arrow takes up less visual space. It's a little bit harder to see because it's smaller. And while you're getting into X100, X200 combos, there's a chance that you may wind up tunnel visioning. And your vision may lose track of what exactly is going on with the balance meter. Now, again, with this specific balance meter, it's not too big of a problem. What was that bounce? Okay, hello. But anyways, yeah. So not with that balance meter specifically, but let's just say I go in and I go into display options, and this one's great. THPS4 is great. RetroHawk is fine. American Wasteland would be one I might not recommend if it's using that color of a balance meter, because it's very dark. And when you're tunnel visioning, the things that your brain are going to process first are the lighter colors, because your brain processes lighter colors ahead of darker colors. Like, that's just how the brain works. So yeah, that's, just a tiny little recommendation. Now, as you're going along, as you're playing Thug Pro, pretty much everything that I talked about is going to become very, very instinctive. So there are certain things, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it live on video, but there are certain elements that I'm not really able to describe in this video, without like really, trying to without really trying to mess things up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it like this, but if you approach, if your balance meter is swinging wildly out of control, for example, and it's near the edge, and then you acid drop at a very weird angle, there's a chance you will just immediately bail, even if you wouldn't have bailed while grinding. Like, that's a little bit hard to describe, but it's something that you're going to pick up instinctively over time. So, yeah, I thought I had something else to cover there. That's why the video cut, but I actually covered it at the beginning of the video. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial. I may have more like it in the future, but this is specifically one that I wanted to make for quite a long time, because I like helping people get better at this game. I mean, why else would I make these tutorial videos? So, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this little tutorial. My name is Protocol, and, yeah, I bid you all farewell. Thanks so much for watching.